Welcome to HowTo in a Few. Today we're going to change a belt on this Hemi engine. This happens to be a 2500 Dodge pickup, but if you have any 2000 to 2010 or so Hemi, maybe even later, it's going to be a similar process. We're going to change the belt. There's only one serpentine belt, and we're also going to change the belt tensioner because I suspect that it's not quite holding tension on the belt the way that it should or the way it used to be. So while we're in there, we're going to swap both those parts out and get everything back on 100%. Now hopefully we're only going to need two tools for this: a 15mm wrench for the tensioner and a 3/8 socket for adjusting the tensioner, moving it out of the way while we slip the new belt on and old belt off. So let's go ahead and take a look at that now. All right, let's take a quick look at our parts today. We have our multi-rib belt and then our tensioner. This is one of those times that I have to applaud the engineers for a very simple design. There's two retaining pins here that's gonna lock into place in the block, and one 15mm bolt holding it in place. You see here the 3/8" insert. That's what we're going to use to manipulate the arm so that we can load the belt. But first things first, we're going to remove the old belt. And the old tensioner. Alright, so we're kind of cramped here. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to catch this, so I'm just going to give you kind of a preview. I hate freehanding the camera, but let's see what we can do here. So here we're looking down at our belts. This belt's got quite a bit of use on it. And here's our tensioner. And I might even be able to move it. Well, okay. I don't know if we can see how I can move it by hand, which leads me to believe either this belt is completely strung out beyond the range of the tensioner, or the tensioner is bad. So rather than going here 2 times, I'm going to go ahead and handle both of these right now with 200,000 miles. You know, that's generally how you make the decisions. Alright, so first thing, we're going to get the belt off. I'm also going to kind of look around, see how this belt is routed. There is a diagram here for the various belt routings on the different engines. Ours is the center route, the Hemi 5.7. We want to make sure the new belt goes on the correct orientation. Alright, so let's see. I almost feel like I could get this belt off without even moving the tensioner, but maybe not. Alright. I'm inserting my ratchet into the tensioner now. If I can get it. Not cooperating. Alright. That's going to allow me to pull it back and get the belt off. It's now loose and should come out relatively easy. Gotten it off all the pulleys. So belt's removed. Not too difficult. And we'll take our 15mm wrench. I may actually switch to a socket for this. All we're doing is loosening that center bolt. I wish I had a better view for you. It's actually already hand loose, so. And here we go. So just in case there was any doubt as to whether this tensioner needed to be replaced, I think we have we've gotten to the bottom of that problem. So looks as what happened is that the housing has corroded over time, cracked, and this spring retained right here must have slipped, and that has caused it to fail. New one's a little different, but that's what happens with aftermarket parts. It is using a completely different type of spring, so that may be an advantage. I did hear something fall to the ground, so I'm going to go check that out. Presumably it's a piece of the housing here that was cracked, but I just want to be sure. Okay, here's a quick shot of our belt removed, and then you can kind of see, well, not really, but you can kind of see the mount where the tensioner went right here. So now let's install the new one in the reverse order. Alrighty. Not much to see. I do suspect though that the belt's going to be much harder to get on than it was to get off. Yeah, that tensioner is much better. Alright, I hand tighten that bolt in. Probably want to check the torque settings on this bolt. Alright. Now it's just a matter of lining up this new belt around all the pulleys. We're going to attempt the bottom pulley first. Alright, so I've routed the belt all the way around all the pulleys, with the remaining pulley to go over right here, the alternator. I'm going to put my ratchet into the tensioner, pull that up, which should give me enough leeway to slip it over the alternator, and then we'll be done. Hopefully it'll go smoothly the first try. Everything slips off. Alright. Turns out I ended up getting it onto the alternator pulley first as it slipped off of the tensioner directly below it. And then it was easy just to slip it onto the tensioner. And let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here we can see the belt all the way on, all the pulleys. We're going to double check. Backwards around the water pump, forwards around the steering pump. So on the idlers, around the alternator, on the new tensioner, and on the AC compressor. What ended up happening is I was unable to get the belt over this lip of this pulley, even though I had the tensioner all the way pushed up. This happened to come off of the tensioner pulley underneath the alternator, and notice that there's no lip there, so it was very easy to slide it over onto that tensioner, and then it was in place. I'm going to start it up real quick, make sure we don't jump off any of the pulleys, and make sure I'm charging and everything's working. Alright, just saw the AC compressor kick on, so no squealing, belt's holding. Alright, so there you go. Other than a little bit of a issue getting the belt back onto that last pulley, that was pretty straightforward. Easy job. Ended up that the tensioner was cracked and broken as I suspected, although I wasn't sure if it was just the belt that was stretched so much that the tensioner couldn't hold tension anymore. So make sure you inspect that even if you're just changing the belt. I hope that video helped you. Sorry about the difficulty in getting the shots in there, but hopefully you still are able to manage. Just make sure beforehand that you have that little sticker that shows you the way that the belt goes around the pulleys. If not, you might want to look that up, or use your cell phone, take a picture of how the belt's on there before you get started, because trust me, as you get older, memory doesn't work as well, and sometimes you need a guide like that. So give me a thumbs up on YouTube, that helps me immensely, keeps my videos being played and gives me the reason for continuing. And hit the subscribe button, that helps too. Keep this whole project rolling. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.